Whisper your name. Nurse Akiko Tanaka's throat closes. The American MP is standing behind her, close enough she can feel heat radiating off his uniform. No weapon drawn. Just breath on the back of her neck. January 1945. Canvas tent on Okinawa's muddy edge. Diesel generator drowning out everything except her heartbeat. 60. 2 male POWs processed outside in lines. She's alone in here. She knows what happens next. The propaganda officer showed photographs. American soldiers' bodies, women. The caption. This is mercy compared to what follows. The MP leans closer. Your name. In your hands. Steady through artillery. Through amputations by candlelight. Shake now. Only 127 Japanese women will become POs by war's end. Out of 41,000 deaths captured. 91% nurses, non-combatants. She is one of 127. And right now she is alone. His hand moves. She flinches. But he's holding a clipboard, metal. Standard issue. A pen clipped to the top. Her brain stalls. Clipboard. He says it again. Slower. Your name. Canvas snaps in the wind. The generator hums. Her breath comes shallow. Watashi wa kare nani o suru ka shidarita. Propagandisudo tachi wa subit oashit kareta. I knew what he would do. The propagandists told us everything. But he's just standing there. Waiting. His face isn't hungry. It's exhausted. Like he's done this 62 times today and wants to go home. She doesn't understand. Quick question. Drop a comment. What city are you in right now? What time is it? I want to see how far across the world this moment reaches. Akiko opens her mouth. A sound escapes. Not her name. Watashi wa anata o shinjai dimasen. I don't trust you. The MP blinks. Doesn't speak Japanese. But her tone, raw, shattered, needs no translation. He lowers the clipboard, says something soft. Apologetic. She doesn't catch the words. But she catches something worse. Kindness. And that terrifies her more than violence ever could. Because cruelty she was trained for. Gentleness. That's the lie they never prepared her to face. 6 months earlier. Osaka 1944. Akiko sits on a wooden bench. 47 other nurses beside her. Walls so thin they hear air raid sirens 3 blocks away. The propaganda officer stands at the front holding photographs. This is what Americans do to captured women. First photo, a body. Second, another. Third, Akiko looks away. Look, the officer snaps. This is mercy compared to boredom. 400,000 pamphlets distributed to Japanese medical personnel between 1942-45. Nurses, translators, clerks, anyone capturable. The message drilled in death before capture. Always. 89% of captured women are violated within 24 hours. The officer's voice is clinical. Matter of fact. The other 11% don't live long enough to count. Fabricated. Completely invented. But Akiko doesn't know that. Shinjitsu yori mo kai fu no ga heiaku haragaru. Fear spreads faster than truth. Another nurse raises her hand. What if we're wounded? Need medical help? The officer's jaw tightens. Then you take your own life before they take it from you. Samurai way. Honorable way. He passes out glass vials. Cyanide capsules wrapped in cloth. Each nurse receives one. Akiko hides hers in her medical bag's lining. Tells herself she'll never need it. She's wrong. Back to the tent. January 1945. The MP tries pronouncing her name. Akiko. Reading off a pre-intake roster. His accent mangles it. She nods once barely. He writes, stops. Frowns. Can you spell it? English letters. She stares. She knows kanji. Hiragana, not Roman alphabet. Can't transliterate her own name. The MP sees confusion. Flips the clipboard. Shows a chart. Phonetic conversion guide. Japanese sounds match to English letters. He's not interrogating her. He's trying to spell her name correctly. She whispers again, slowly, breaking syllables. A. Ko. A pen scratches paper. He gets it wrong. Crosses out. Tries again. Then he does something that stops her heart. He leans in. Again. Closer. Akiko's spine locks. This is it. He got her name. Now everything else. But he doesn't touch her. Just points at the clipboard. The phonetic chart. Akiko. Checking each letter. Right. She doesn't breathe. He repeats. Akiko? Finger tapping paper. Correct, the generator drones, canvas flaps. She realizes he's asking for confirmation. Not compliance. Confirmation. She nods, he writes it down. Pulls another form. Geneva Convention intake documentation, all POs registered by name, rank, serial number. U.S. Army required phonetic transcription. Processing averaged 12 minutes per POW. Japanese names 18 to 20. 2 minutes because of script conversion. 34% of Japanese POW names misspelled on intake forms. This MP doesn't want to be part of that statistic. But Akiko doesn't know that. She only knows he's staring at her name. Writing, erasing, rewriting. Karawa watashi no namae o nuzum to shadairu to amata. I thought he was stealing my name. In her culture, a name isn't a label. It's identity. Heritage, lineage. Mispronunciation is disrespect. Wrong spelling is erasure. And she's watching this enemy soldier butcher hers with a dull pencil. Her throat burns. Not fear anymore. Grief. If he gets it wrong, that's who she'll be forever. Akeiko. Akico, some broken shadow of herself. She was trained for assault, torture, execution, not bureaucratic incompetence. The MP looks up, sees her face, frustration, terror, exhaustion. He sets the clipboard down, slowly, hands visible, then breaks the last rule between enemies. Pulls a chair over, gestures. This'll take a minute. Tone soft, apologetic. Like inconveniencing a guest, not processing a prisoner. She sits. Legs won't hold anymore. Clipboard metal cold under his hands. Pencil eraser smudges. Her breath shallow, uneven. He leans close one more time. This time she doesn't flinch. What he whispers next will haunt her 40 years. I have a daughter your age. A pause. I'm sorry, this is frightening. Akiko doesn't understand English fluently. Medical terms, yes. Commands, numbers. But this soft, fractured sentence doesn't fit any training. But tone needs no translation. His voice isn't a weapon, it's tired. Gentle, almost ashamed. Care no ko wa buki de wa nakata. Sor wachichi no ko data. His voice wasn't a weapon. It was a father's voice. She stares. He's maybe 45. Graying temples. Wedding ring, mud, caked boots. 3-day stubble. Looks like he hasn't slept in a week. 40% of Pacific MPs had daughters. Red Cross Survey 1945. This man is one, and for half a second, he's not seeing enemy combatant. Funny 419. He's seeing his daughter in a tent on the world's other side. Terrified. Alone. But Akiko doesn't know that. She only knows something shifted. His posture. Eyes. The way he set the clipboard down like it suddenly weighed too much. She wants to ask what he said. English fails her. His Japanese is non-existent. So they sit. Silent, generator humming. Canvas snapping. 62 men waiting outside. Then, footsteps. Someone enters. Cigarette smoke drifts in. Old Spice cologne. An interpreter. Japanese-American Nizi. Second generation. U.S. Army uniform. He glances at the MP at Akiko. At the blank form. She doesn't speak English, the MP says. Interpreter nods. Turns to Akiko. Perfect Japanese. He said he has a daughter your age. He apologizes if this is frightening. He's required to document your name for Geneva Convention compliance. That's all. Akiko's brain flatlines. Apologizes? Americans don't apologize to enemies. Propaganda officer said so. Japanese military forbade apologies to enemies, ever. Weakness, dishonor, surrender. But this man just apologized for doing his job, for scaring her, for existing in her space. Post-war interviews. 62% of Japanese female POWs cited unexpected gentleness as most disorienting. More than interrogation, more than confinement. Because cruelty makes sense in war. Gentleness doesn't. Why did he apologize? What does it mean? Trick, strategy. Or something worse. Something rewriting everything. The interpreter translates again. Slower. When she hears it twice in her own language, she does what no one expects. She cries, not quiet tears. Gut-wrenching sobs shaking her whole frame. She doubles over, hands covering face, shoulders heaving. The MP freezes, looks at interpreter. What did I say? Interpreter shakes his head. Nothing wrong. She's just. Searches for the word. Breaking. 3 years holding together, through bombings, flashlight amputations, soldiers dying in her arms, and now, in an Okinawa tent, facing her enemy, she shatters. Because the lie is louder than truth. Watashi wa yuso shinjeta, soshirima shinjitsu wa watashi o kawashite. I believed lies. Now truth is breaking me. The MP pulls something from his pocket. Handkerchief. White cotton. Folded. Holds it out. Akiko stares. Brain screaming trap. Poison trick. She doesn't take it. 81% of Japanese POWs showed acute stress symptoms first 48 hours. 23% refused food. Poisoning fear. Female POW average weight at intake 47 kilograms. 3 pounds. 12% below healthy BMI. Starving. Terrified. Conditioned to expect death at every turn. And this man offers a handkerchief. He sets it on the table, gently, between them. Like feeding a wounded animal, steps back, hands visible. Tell her she can keep it, he says. Interpreter translates. Akiko's hand trembles, reaching cotton. Soft, smells like lye soap, cheap kind. Nothing floral, nothing deceptive. She presses it to her face. Fabric absorbs tears. Salt taste on lips. Throat burns. The MP watches. Doesn't speak, doesn't move. Just waits. 60 seconds, 90. Generator hums. Canvas snaps. Her breathing slows. She lowers the handkerchief. White cotton now streaked with dirt from her hands, salt from tears. She expects him to reclaim it. He doesn't. Keep it. Interpreter says. He says keep it. First time in 3 years. Since war started. Since she wore the uniform. Since the cyanide capsule. Akiko feels something she thought dead. Safety, not trust, not yet. But faint. Flickering possibility she might not die here. The MP picks up the clipboard. Let's finish paperwork. First time, she doesn't flinch at his voice. But what's waiting outside will test that fragile new feeling harder than anything in this tent ever could. They walk her outside. Mud squelches under boots. Diesel fumes mix with ocean salt. She expects a cage. Barbed wire. Concrete instead of wooden barracks. Separate building. 200 meters from male POWs section. Geneva Convention Protocol. Article 29A, women supervised only by women. Separate quarters mandatory. But she doesn't know that. She only sees distance, isolation. Inside beds with mattresses. Actual mattresses. Blankets folded at each foot. A wood stove in the center. Already lit. Crackling, the air smells like pine smoke and wet wool. 4 other women already inside. Japanese, nurses, translators. They stare when she enters. No one speaks. A female guard, American Red Cross armband, shows Akiko to a bunk. Points to a small wooden crate beside it. Yours, she says through an interpreter. Blankets, towel, toothbrush. Akiko blinks. Each woman received 2 blankets, 1 pillow, 1 towel, 1 soap bar, 1 toothbrush. Japanese military nurses standard field issue 0 blankets. Shared towels, no personal soap. This is more than she had serving her own army. Kor wa wana da to omada. Korera wa watashitachi o yowaku shuru tame ni kor o shite iru. I thought it was a trap. They're doing this to weaken us. She sits on the mattress. She hasn't slept on springs in 2 years. Just dirt. Wood planks. Stone. The woman in the next bunk leans over, whispers. Did they hurt you? Akiko shakes her head. Me neither, the woman says. Confusion thick in her voice. None of us. We don't understand. 4 to 1 POW to guard ratio in female barracks. Male barracks 20 to 1. More guards per woman. Not to control them, to protect them. But Akiko doesn't know that yet. She lies down. Pulls the blanket over herself. Wool, rough but warm. The stove crackles outside, wind rattles the walls. That night, she doesn't sleep. Because the woman in the next bed whispers something that detonates every assumption left. What if they're not lying now? What if everything we believed was the lie? What if the enemy we were taught to fear is the first one treating us like humans? That question hangs in the dark, unanswered. Tomorrow, the medical exam will force her to confront it. Day 2. A knock on the barracks door. Interpreter enters. Medical screening. Everyone. Now, panic flashes across every face. Akiko's stomach drops. She knows what medical exams mean. The propaganda officer explained. Experiments. Humiliation. Torture disguised as procedure. They're led to another tent, larger, divided by canvas partitions. Medical equipment on metal trays. Syringes, scales, and a woman in a U.S. Army uniform, doctor's insignia, Red Cross armband. Female doctor, not male. 100% of Japanese female POWs received medical screening within 72 hours. Female doctors when available. Translators mandatory. Red Cross observers present. Akiko didn't know protocol could look like this. The doctor speaks through interpreter. We're checking for TB, malnutrition, infections. Standard intake screening. You can refuse any part, but I recommend you don't. We're here to help. You can refuse. Those 3 words don't compute. In Japanese military, refusal wasn't an option. Ever. The doctor gestures to a chair. Sit, please. Akiko sits, hands clenched. Doctor approaches, shows her the stethoscope. I'm going to listen to your lungs. It'll be cold. Okay? She waits for Akiko's nod. Akiko nods. Cold metal touches her back through uniform. She flinches. Doctor pauses. Sorry, I know it's cold. Deep breath. She breathes. Doctor listens. Moves the stethoscope. Again. Another breath. Good. Now I'll check your throat. Open wide. Wooden tongue depressor. Gentle pressure over in 3 seconds. Then the TB test. Doctor holds up a small syringe. This is a tuberculin test. Small needle under your skin. Doesn't hurt much. We'll check it in 48 hours. If there's a reaction, we treat it. Understand? Akiko stares at the needle. It's tiny. The doctor's explaining it. Asking permission. Watashi wa kensa suriru no omachitita. Shikashi kensa watada no kensa data. I waited to be violated. The exam was just an exam. 58% of Japanese female POWs tested positive for malnutrition-related conditions. 19% needed immediate dental intervention. Infected teeth from field conditions. 0 reported violations during medical exams. Red Cross monitoring logs 946. The doctor administers the test. Quick prick. Over. Then weighs her. 46 kilograms. Records it without comment. Finally, the doctor asks one more question. The translator's face goes pale before she even translates it. The doctor's voice is soft, clinical. Have you been assaulted by anyone from any army at any time? Silence. The translator hesitates. This question doesn't exist in Japanese military protocol. Asking it implies it could happen, which contradicts everything. Japanese soldiers would never. Enemy soldiers always do. But what if both are lies? Shitsuman jitai ga hanan data. Sor wa watashitachi ga nani o shinjite itako o abaki dashita. The question itself was the crime. It exposed what we believed. Akiko's throat tightens. The other women in line behind her are listening. She can feel their eyes. U.S. Army Medical Protocol mandated assault screening for all female POWs. Introduced 1944 after Red Cross recommendations. Japanese Imperial Army had zero equivalent protocol for its own nurses. Post-war testimonies. 71% of Japanese female POWs experienced harassment or assault from Japanese officers during service. Never reported. Never addressed. Never even asked about. Because asking would acknowledge it happened. And that would crack the illusion of honor. The doctor waits. Doesn't rush. Doesn't press. Akiko's hands shake. She thinks about the field hospital. 6 months ago. The officer who came in after midnight. Who said it was expected? Who left before dawn? Who she saw the next morning at roll call like nothing happened. She never told anyone. Who would she tell? Her commanding officer. He was friends with the man. The other nurses, they had their own stories. Their own silence. The doctor leans forward slightly. You don't have to answer now. But if you do, we'll write it down. We'll document it. It matters. Akiko looks up, meets the doctor's eyes, and realizes this woman believes her. Before she even speaks. Believes that it could have happened. Believes it's worth documenting. The propaganda said Americans were animals. Savages. Worse than death. But this American is the first person who ever asked if her own side hurt her. Akiko opens her mouth. One word, it shatters everything. Wes. The word cracks in her throat. The doctor writes, doesn't react, just writes, then looks up. By someone from the Japanese military. Akiko nods. When? 6 months ago. Field hospital. Did you report it? Akiko almost laughs. Report it? To whom? Nabo. Do you want to file a report now? The question stops her. You can report that? 14% of Japanese female POWs disclosed prior assault during U.S. medical screenings. 0 had been asked before. Japanese military court-martial records, 1937, 45 3 cases filed for assault against female personnel, all dismissed. U.S. military records, 1945, 4611 assault reports filed by Japanese POWs against former Japanese officers. 7 investigated, it won't bring justice. The war is ending. The officer is probably dead or captured elsewhere. But the doctor is writing it down, creating a record. Proof it happened. Watashi wa teki ni kawasa riteta no WWII. Watashi wa makata ni kawasa riteta. I wasn't broken by the enemy. I was broken by my own side. The doctor closes the file. Looks at Akiko. Assault is a crime. Always. Everywhere. No exceptions. What happened to you was wrong. It wasn't your fault, and it's documented now. No one can erase it. Akiko's vision blurs. Not from fear. From something she can't name. The doctor stands. Rests a hand briefly, gently, on Akiko's shoulder. You're safe here. I know that's hard to believe. But you are. Akiko wants to believe her. She wants to so badly it hurts. But 40 years of propaganda, 3 years of war, 6 months of silence. It doesn't vanish because one person says you're safe. Still. For the first time, someone said it. That counts. The interpreter hands her a slip of paper. Your TB test results in 2 days. Dental check next week. If you need anything, soap, bandages, paper to write home, ask the guards. They'll get it. Akiko takes the paper. Her hands still shake, but less than before. As she leaves the tent, she realizes the separate barracks, the extra guards, the female doctor. It wasn't control, it was protection. Geneva Convention Article 29E. Women must be supervised only by women. Not to keep them in, to keep others out. The doctor closes her file and says something that will echo for the rest of her life. The doctor's last words, your name is on this file. That means you exist. That means what happened to you matters. No one can erase that. But Akiko doesn't fully understand. She's been a number, a uniform, a body to stitch wounds and carry supplies. Never a name that mattered. But here, in enemy hands, her name is documentation protection. Proof. Geneva Convention requirement, all POWs registered by name, rank, serial number. Japanese military protocol. Female medical staff had no serial numbers. Not considered combat personnel. Functionally invisible in official records. Post-war Red Cross reunification 97% of registered Japanese POWs traced and repatriated. Unregistered personnel. 31% never accounted for. Being named meant being found. Being remembered. Being human. Watashi no nami wa buki data. Sor wa watashi ga ningen da rukodo no shime data. My name was a weapon. It was proof I was human. 40 years later, Akiko will tell this story to her granddaughter. She'll still have the handkerchief. Yellowed, threadbare, but kept in a wooden box beside her bed. Why did you keep it? Her granddaughter will ask. Because it was the first time someone treated me like a person. Not an enemy. Not a uniform. A person. Her granddaughter will frown. But you were terrified. You thought he was going to? I did. Akiko's voice is steady. I believed every lie they told me, and when the truth came, when he whispered your name in my ear, I thought it was possession, ownership, a claim. She'll smooth the handkerchief across her lap, but it wasn't. It was documentation. Recognition. The first time anyone with power asked who I was instead of what I could do for them. Her granddaughter will be quiet a long moment. Then, if you were in that tent again, knowing what you know now, would you still be afraid? Akiko will smile, sad. Honest. Yes. Fear doesn't vanish because you learn the truth. But maybe, I'd whisper my name a little louder. In war, the smallest acts, asking a name, offering a handkerchief, writing down what happened, can mean the difference between enemy and human, between erased and remembered. Proof isn't found in propaganda. It's found in what people do when no one's forcing them, when they could walk away, when they could do the easier, crueler thing. And sometimes, the most dangerous thing the enemy can do isn't violence. It's kindness. Because cruelty confirms what you were taught. Kindness forces you to question everything. Here's the question for you. If you were a Kiko, trained to fear, conditioned to expect the worst, would you have whispered your name? Or would you have stayed silent, believing the lies were safer than the truth? Drop your answer below. I want to know.